So the markets are closed, and I want to do some look aheads for next week on, I guess, just the major currency pairs. I think in a lot of ways people fool themselves by going to exotic pairs. Once you step outside the majors, the spread sucks, and now you got to manage. You write a completely different script for a market that has an ATR, a monthly ATR, just the one, you can see ATR on your chart. In other words, you see big moves, bigger than the other currencies. At the end of the day, which currencies, I'm sure there's something that can tell you who was the biggest mover. When I used to trade stocks, and this is back in the day, so you would wait for the newspaper to come out. But I was so giddy to Investors Business Daily, any newspaper that had who's the biggest losers, I'm buying that stock, and just keep scaling into that thing, because it was un-American to short the market. So I noticed in a lot of these empowered tradings thing, watching it, just fascinated by well, of course the appeal is obvious, speculation. So in this video, he's going to tell you that you have to create a favorable, well, you have to have a good, strong attitude to be a trend trader. Because I guess, it's pretty difficult. 20% of the market trends, and you're like, man, is the party over? I'm sure anybody that bought in here, and I'm going to crayon mode here, anybody that bought, like, what is your thoughts? This is one of those tick bar charts. 5. You're looking for 5 ticks or something to get a bar? And there's distortion of time here, but it doesn't matter. You can still see the fact that you wish you could have bought here, you wish you could have bought there. But what was preventing you from buying here? He's going to create a whole scenario that just is totally outside the wave. It's like scheduling a surfing contest down the road that never going to set up. You have to trade blow by blow on this stuff, really. I mean, anybody that's, I don't know what time frame this is, but you can see you'd have to buy here. Well, people say, well, what if I put my stop here and they stop me out? You've got to trade at least 10 tickets. You got to learn to trade 10, 20 tickets at a time. You have to have multiple things going on. So if it takes a bunch of psychological energy, just bring the size of the ticket down. Then people say, well, I'm not going to place an order that's so fucking small. What am I make, 30 cents? Okay, I think I told this story when we were growing up in my neighborhood. There was a kid down the road, his parents were rich, and I said, what's your dad do? He sells car antennas. I'm like, what? It was like 50 cents. You know what else he sold? Knobs for the radios. How about each knob is 0.05 cents a knob, back when 0.05 cents was a lot of money. But guess what? He's making up in volume. He's selling to the automotive company. He just sold 1 million antennas at a penny, or knobs. Do the math, right? And then he did that every month. Living in a big house. He's trading. He's not making each knob, but with MT4, we don't have to build each knob. We drop in a grid bank. We buy a zone. We gobble up everything from this price, and sometimes you're not getting filled. That's why you have to have enough dry powder to place a Gumpster Goober entry here by stop. And you just kept buying. Every time it came down here, you're accumulating during this and you're hopefully range trading this part to pad your account so you can ride this trend. But during this phase of the trend, you go into channel mode. So what's the trade plan here? You're like, oh, you're kind of range trending trading. Can you nail every one of these moves? If you're a full-time trader and you're sitting in front of your screen and you don't mind just, I can't imagine what the time frame is. This is probably like 2 hours or shit. I don't even know. So let's just watch him. And there's a term called psychological projection. It just dawned on me that that's what he's doing. He's projecting his hopes and dreams on the screen. If you look up psychological projection, the psychologists have hijacked that term to mean that, oh well, I'm just projecting what on you. What? No, I'm talking about your beliefs are projecting on the chart like a Rorschach test. I think I did Rorschach test. I think I did a video called that. Because you're really projecting what you perceive to happen here. And if you're hoping it's going to come all the way back, no, just why fast forward, no audio, because my God, who listens to these guys? Jesus, can't take it anymore. But I think a lot of people are misled by the conventional wisdom or the normal wisdom here. So let's see if I can get this thing to cook along here. See, now he's going, at this point he says, what do you think the trade is? And I'm like, I don't know, buy a little bit, put some limits below, get picked up on a bounce. I mean, trading's work. You're not going to get around work by overanalyzing it. There's no amount of setups, no amount of Gartleys, no amount of trend lines ever going to save you from not having a fucking trade plan. Multiple trade plans. It's work, man. It's hard work. You're never going to make it. I mean, you might have, I can't say that. If you got $1 million and you rarely trade, but you got $1 million, right? You're not looking to make 2 million. It would be inconceivable. You're never going to get a fill. You got to be selling antennas, right? I mean, sure, you could dream of selling gold-plated antennas, but not a lot of people are going to order those. So look at this nonsense back here. Get a load of this, right? These are all, how much energy is spent on this bullshit here? You can't see the forest for the trees, but you're in the forest. Like, I can only trade what I'm looking at right now. If the market opens Sunday night, do I have a trade for that? Yeah, I'm gonna buy low and sell high. I'm gonna wait for the ATRs to drop on the 4-hour. Maybe I'll bracket it with a breakout strategy. Maybe non-directional. Maybe I'll just load up at the market because I can obviously see. And take rocket science to see what's going on. Notice the auction down here. So it's just hysterical. Like, look at this. Buy limits into this. Scalp to here, let the rest go into here. They trap these guys. They pull it back to the double top. He can't even mark that shit off. He's so consumed with this. He's got Gartley-itis. This is so terrible. Why does he fill people's heads? This is like when you go to the, when you buy a magazine and they've got airbrushed women in there. And you're like, where are these women? Where are they? It's so cruel. It's cruel. What is it? It's like going to prison and giving guys like, Victoria's Secret catalogs, right? Oh, they're being gang raped. It's wrong. So look at this nonsense. He's got to tell everybody that the market went up and down here. Like, we can't fucking figure that out. But it gets worse. And the thing is that you're projecting your beliefs onto the market. You're doing all these things that they kind of make. Now he's going to make a supposition here. We're going to come down to there. How are we going to get involved in that? Right? You can just see his mindset. Oh, got to get the fibs because they work, right? Oh, and if you get confluence, look at now. What the fuck is all that shit? Do I place orders at every fib handle? You have to, but then that's all I'm doing. What if he said? If he said right now, listen, you see that thing? My fib, each one of those is a ticket. Each one has its own unique ratio. There may be a cluster of orders sitting at that fib ratio, but he's lining up. He's queuing up one trade here. He's already presupposing that the market's going to drop into his order bank and he's going to buy and he's going to look to make this amount of ratio. This is all for one fucking ticket, mind you. Maybe he buys one ticket and he takes off half. Wow, what a scaling method. You couldn't build suspension on a car like that. You would bend the frame. You have to have a cushion. Don't people have a cushion? Like, don't they have like savings in an account? They got a credit card in case something goes terrible wrong. They got catastrophic insurance, or they know Guido. Look at the supposition, and then he's describing different scenarios that could unfold off of one fucking ticket. If the market dips down, is there a scalp in there? Hell yes. Is there a swing in there? Hell yes. How do you size it? This is the whole complexity of it. It's about how far has the market moved? What is the range? Where are your targets? Here, let me just pause for a second here. I got an email from somebody asking a question in this kind of situation here, and it's about the targets and everything. So now people will trade. When I hear people are trading the 5-minute chart or the 15, they're scalpers. Yeah, and the bigger picture does matter. And if you're just trying to make money over a short period of time, then so what his concern is that in this you can see when you're reading something that the fear of missing out is saying, well, what if this doesn't work, and what if they stop me out? And he says, don't you have a problem with the target is further away than the next support resistance, so tops become bottoms manually. You'd put a target here just a bit above, but the script is putting, for instance, it below that level, and it'll never get hit. So it'll never get hit. It's like fear of missing out, right? And you also, so this is what I do, is that if I placed too many orders, which I know I do, like you have to know what you do wrong. So if you know that you're, like, I guess I'm vulgar wherever I go. I was at this party once and the guy said to me, hey, my mom's here, don't swear. And I'm like, fuck you. I just wanted to say fuck you and leave the party. I'm like, you know what? You invited me. You knew I fucking have a potty mouth. I mean, I don't know. Your mom's never heard the word fuck. And but okay, so there's all sorts of things that come into your trading. You bring them in, and it's like, this is how it is, right? We just have our fears are going to come into our trading plans. We're going to put in wide stops because we don't want to get stopped out. But if we put in tight stops, then we're stopped out, and we're sitting there going, should I get back in? I got to repay the spread or commissions. And, but the answer is, and this is difficult because I'm impatient, that you have to wait for the market to talk to you. And how does it talk to you? When it's screaming up and down, it's saying somebody's chasing me. I mean, in other words, I'm very emotional. I'm on fire. Like if you're married, it's like, don't talk to me. Like you're not supposed to, right? So you have to wait for your wife to calm down, right? And you're just supposed to know what's wrong, right? So they give you the silent treatment, right? Well, the market gives you the silent treatment when it goes sideways. So you have to know how to deal with that. So I guess to stay married, right, you have to deal with somebody who's drunk and giddy, and they want to be impulsive and just do wild stuff. That's when the market's impulsive, like an impulse wave, price pulse. And then the market goes sideways, like your wife's, she's moody, right? And this would be the sideways market. But she's moody most of the time, right? 80% of the relationship is not fun. Occasionally, right, if you were to butter her up, so to speak, old terminology, or you'd surprise her. Like flowers, that's always works. So you can't do that too often, or you wear out the flower thing, plus you go broke. Same thing with the market. There's not going to be these big drama bursts. So most of the market's doldrums. And the person that would be able to make money from that situation is going to have dual approach. Now, they won't think about what if it doesn't get hit, because they're in at the market. So holding a position continually in the market of at least 1K is a mental exercise in pain. Now, to trade around that position is a whole nother skill level. In other words, you're married to the position, you've got a wife, and now you're going to cheat on her, and you've got to orchestrate the other girls around your wife so they don't see her, they don't know she's there. Maybe you have to do it on a separate trading account, maybe a hotel. Like, you can't just say, my wife's at work, you come into my house. So maybe you don't want to commingle those trades on one broker. But people are so afraid of even having a broker. You're like, can you trust it? Are they regulated? Listen, if they're unregulated, sign up immediately. Don't put 10 grand in there. Put $100 in there. Make 500. Take 300 out. Pay your phone bill. If you've got more than a $300 phone bill, open 2 accounts and have your kids trade the fucking account. Okay, I'm sick of this shit where people are like, well, I'm the only one who knows how to trade. Listen, I used to cut my parents' lawn for free, I think, right? Because they bought me the mower. But then I started cutting other people's lawns. And, my parents are rich, but they're like, you're going to work. So, fuck, I'm cutting other people's lawns. This kind of like, I'm a victim of the market makers that come in. They're stopping me out. It's a whole... And then you got this shit. Well, we can save you with our utopian patterns. But, on the 15-minute chart is a whole different world than the 1 hour chart. You could have put a buy stop in last night and rode with a wide stop. You could have got confirmation breakout on one ticket with a wide stop. You could say at the end of the day, look, I made money. You're not going to be able to do that over and over again because you're not going to get enough trades. I'm just speaking to people that want to trade for a living. If you want to make money on the side, okay. But if all you do is trade, it's going to occur to you that you need to be... I spent a whole week not getting filled because I put my orders too far away one time. I thought, you know what? I'm trading too close to the market, so I overcompensated, as you have to do, right? If you're out golfing and you're hooking to the right, now you're going to hook to the left. It's called army golf, right, left. You eventually fucking relax and dial it in, and you have to visualize. And this is where you can have an impact. Golfing is not trading in the way that you can't affect the ball. You can't affect the market. But what you're doing is you are trading somebody else's golf game. The market's golfing, and you're like, he's going to miss that. No, you're making out the cause of what you think is going to happen based on prior momentum. And when the market goes sideways, unless you have a trade plan for that. Now, I've lost a lot of money trying to extract every ounce, because once you know how to trade, like once you know how to play guitar, you're like, hey man, play mandolin. Next thing you're on some fucking thing, you can't even see it, right? So just because you can play an instrument doesn't mean you should be like breaking out the baritone guitar, right, when your fingers can't reach. Whatever it is. So, but it's never too early. And this is the problem I have with all these teachers. They're like, well, that's very advanced, scaling in and out. I mean, that's just for... No, that's where you should start. Because you have to say, how much did I spend on lunch today? If you went out to a fucking restaurant and you spent $8 and the waitress was hot, so you tipped her $2, you're down $10 for the day plus tax. If you live in Canada, you got to pay some fucking luxury tax or some... The Queen's got to get her shoes tax. And then, so... you have to think in terms of this kind of risk. Now, could you have made that meal at home for $5? Fuck yeah, but you're going to drive home when gas is X? No. Besides, you got time. You don't got time to drive home. You got a half hour, an hour for lunch, or maybe it took you 5 minutes to get to your favorite restaurant. Everybody's scarfing down, everybody's stacked up, rush hour. But how much money did you spend on that meal? And how much money did you spend in your trading account? Now, a lot of people say, well, fuck, I mean, I spend $50 a week on food. Or you'd be surprised, right? If you're spending $10 a day and you don't eat on the weekends, just $50 a week. What if you lost $50 a week trading? In other words, what if you took some, you're dating you're spending that on some girl you're trying to date. I'm not saying you shouldn't date and trade, but I am. That's what it was. If you don't have enough money for the date, like to get the better, look at it. It's probably no secret to anybody, but if you got a lot of money, you can get hotter looking chicks. Even if you're ugly as a barn, door. But so, the thing is that, you have to make a decision in life. So you're trading, your whole life's a fucking trade. Am I going to go out and get drunk, or am I going to sit home and write down? Now, I started writing by hand a trade plan. That was a devastating thing for me because I hate math, and I looked at it and I go, God, that's fucking, Jesus, this is, I'm going to have to put a lot of orders in. I discovered that to spread the risk, I'm going to have to put a lot of orders in. I spent a lot of work placing elaborate matrices of orders. And actually, I did that one news day, and I didn't even have a clue that, I didn't even have this thought that it was going to be a winning or losing trade. I just said, let's see what happens, right? And the ratios weren't even that great, really. One of my neighbors came unwrapped. So life's tough, you think it's hard trading. Geez, try to just be alive. Now, so I lost my train of thought. But Okay, so what it is, I decided that it was going to be work instead of having dreamland shit like this. I said, well, you know what? I gotta be realistic. I'm gonna put in 100 tickets and make $100. 10 pip winners to risk 5 pips. Now, once you write that down, you're like, well, I'm gonna place 100 orders to make $100. Now, some people have a threshold for work. I said, well, I'm not gonna. Fuck, really? With 5 pip stops? I mean, good ratios, right? And I when the news came out, I just some of the stuff had bad ratios. And I was actually up at the end of this. I'm talking about a day where you're up 150 pips on the euro, down 150 pips, up 100, down 50, finishes unchanged. Limits on the top, more buys than sells, but the buys are selling to make money. So you're a seller. It's a two-way street. It's a revolving door. Volatility is the that is the whole fulcrum of this, is volatility. So your trade plans need to be dynamic. You need to have the 15 pip stop. You know when you have to know when to apply that. Trading's an art, but it's not the art of drawing shit on your screen. It's about the art of knowing when and when not to. So, going back to your wife, if anybody's been married, right? Knowing there's trigger words, there's things that, so you have to have, you walk on eggshells maybe, but see, the market doesn't know you exist. So it's really not a fair metaphor. But your behavior, the way you control your reaction to what's going on, and realize that when you see the market screaming down, that you got to think about, when's this going to turn around? Unless you're willing to jump on the southern train and sell it, your only other thing you can fucking do is think about, where do I start putting buy limits, and do it, and when, and which time frame am I going to wait for the ATRs to get small enough to buy one at the market, maybe buy one on a stop. But what I've noticed is that if you just put limits in and let those play out, as the market's coming down, you know it can never get this, and it can never get worse, because you have not pulled the trigger at the market, and you don't have any stops that are going to get trapped as the market starts to come back. I buy very heavily into sell-offs. So if you take away the market orders and the stops and just place your trap, let the market come in, let it breathe out. Now that may be hard, but you can still, if you're freaking out, and what this guy is talking about is, what do you do? Well, if you see that it's a quicker plunge than you thought, it retraces, you have your finger on a take all profits key. And this is where robotics meets automation meets trading. And this is why you can survive it. And this is why you can put high resolution tickets in. They're all 1Ks. Somebody asked me, well, why don't you just trade? You're going to get in a 50K anyways, just trade a 50K. At one price? Are you nuts? I can't afford to risk I can't afford to risk, if I'm going to trade 100K in the morning, I can't risk half of my allotment to one idea. You couldn't run a store like that, right? You just pull everything off and just leave one thing out there. No, you have a spectrum of stuff, and this is when the work comes in. So people are like, oh, I'm out, count me out. They tap out. It's too much work. So obviously the threshold between putting on 5 standard lots and walking away and trading once a month and making 1,000 pips is a dream. But once you get into that thing and you see that you're up $3,000, now you're down $3,000, you're up $3,000. At what point do you say, that's a lot of money to be swinging every 3 hours? Maybe I should just get the fuck out and reload it. If it was that easy to get into a $3,000 winner, why don't you just get in and reload and play the dance game and breathe with the market? These guys are so fucking inflexible. And what these guys are doing is they're teaching trading. They're not trading. They're not trading. They're not like, hey, I'm trading. This is what I'm thinking. This is why I'm afraid to do this trade. Some of you may not be afraid to do it. It's about fear. And this confirmation is supposed to, all the Fibonacci's are supposed to get rid of the fear, because it gives you a positive expectation. That's the worst fucking thing you want to have during trading. You want to have an end of the world expectation. You add up all the stops of all the orders you place, and you go, this is what I could lose today. You set the loss up front like a samurai, and you just deal with it. You'd be surprised how many times it works out in your favor. Like, some of those tickets didn't fill, so you even have less exposure. And if you got the placement right, with half a brain, buying low and selling high, with limits, You're making money. Now, you may not be making much money as you want, because now you're going to see, oh, you know what, I could have done this, could have done that. You're always going to say that. Just like if you're learning anything, you never stop learning. That's what they call it, practicing attorneys, practicing doctors. Like, the joke is, you're a practicing surgeon. What, you know what the fuck you're doing? You're still working? You practicing? Well, of course. You're always, this kind of, I don't know where this mentality came. I think it came from school. Well, I've got a PhD. I went through 8 years. But you're done? What do you think, that you're fucking done learning now? You just learned a bunch of idealistic shit like these cunts are showing you. And now you got to go out in the real world and learn. I've been to college for one term. Trade school, same thing. Idealized situations. You're working on a car. They give you a fucking... They go, here's a bolt, here's a crescent wrench. It's exact sizing. It just fits perfectly. You go to the real world, bolts are smeared. You got to hammer on a metric. How in the fuck? These poor son of a bitches have never... And this guy's like, I've traded 10 years. 10 years? Somebody took him under his arm, right? Todd Brown said, come here, boy. I'll show you. Here's how not to blow up your account. That's all they're doing. They're not blowing up your account. But would you give somebody $2,000 not to blow up your account? Maybe. I'm just saying, it's impossible. It's so far from reality. This is like saying, if you play this song by the Rolling Stones, you can be a musician. That's no. Like, they have these people coming to these shows, right? And they sing amazing. It's an isolated incident. These motherfuckers could never hang on tour, maybe, right? They might blow their fucking brains backstage. Mr. Soundgarden's story, 52 fucking years old. Fucking pussy couldn't hang. So, blows his brains out. What a dick fuck. Doesn't he have a wife and a family? What a pussy. So, what is wrong with people? If you're going to kill yourself, give people fair warning. At least arrange your own funeral. Book it. Make it a celebration. Don't plan your trade your plan. If you're going to kill yourself, these people do surprise killings. Yeah, because they're afraid somebody's going to stop them. If you loved him, let him go, right? If you love somebody, let him go. What happened to that song? Well, it's Sting, right? Fucking Sting. So here we are. Well, this is just going to play this fast forward here. But I understand what people are saying, but you've really got to have a market order on deck. You got to be sitting there with your fingers on it. If you're worried about making money every second of the day, you have to be trading every second of the day, and then you'll see how hard it is, because you're going to pay that spread. You're going to have to, but you don't want to be quixotic, right? You don't want to be jousting at windmills. You can't be too romantic, but that's what these guys are doing. It's quixotic trading here. Dreamland shit. And this is just sad. Look at this stuff. What the fuck is he? Oh, see, and then he'll say, "Well, see, it happened before." I can't. I'm at double speed here, and I can't hang. What is he talking about? He never talks about, well, you see, you're gonna have to get in here, and then you're gonna have to get in on another ticket 3.5 pips above, and that's gonna have a different target and a different take profit, and that's because it's like a chess game. How could you explain a chess to somebody? You're like, okay, here's how you. Like, you just show the last 5 moves in a chess game. Last 3 moves. Okay, then checkmate. That's how you play chess. What? It's such an elaborate situation. At least in chess, you can intimidate the other player. You can't even do that in this game. And for people that are successful in the business world, where they're able to persuade somebody, you can't persuade the market. So if your skills and your real day job come from persuading somebody and trying to, you have to be accommodating. You have to be like, the customer's always right, and the customer happens to be the market. So you have to accommodate this situation. And this is just incredible. He's ranging this thing on the top. Like, for what? This is like, if people come to play football on 100-yard football field. I'm looking for this thing where I was looking for a video where he made fun of me. He called me out. He goes, "We got somebody in the chat room here that says we got a question from a struggling trader here. He wants to buy a double bottom. Should he buy it?" And then he waits in the room, answers. He said, "That's right. You don't know if it's double bottom." I said, "Why don't you just put your buy limit at the previous bottom, and then just when the market gets there, it'll just be like, wow, if you're right, let the market prove you right, and if it's a double bottom, you're already in." He said, "Well, what if it keeps going down?" This is the problem with this. And these guys how much are they charging? Go look, right? Blow your fucking mind. Here, let's go take a look at this shit. I mean, look at this ultimate transformation. It's just so pathetic, man. But I'm just attacking them because it's the most cliche, classic road you never want to go down. And the comments are, I love this video. These people are just, how are they doing it? How are they not just frustrated with their lack of fast success? We want to get rich quick, damn it. And you can make money trading consistently from a lot of work, right? Look at this guy. I will pay. Awesome video. Do you have a live trading room? I would buy the course and stick to it for the whole 12 weeks, or I could learn at my own pace. I'm usually busy. Don't know whether I want to fall behind. It's a class. You have to graduate. I graduated from the School of Empowered Trading. Okay, now you got to go really learn, right? Now you got to go to real world stuff. Okay, the ultimate. Look how slick this shit is. Here's another one. Appeal to people's emotions. Live your passion. I am bitching about Yukons. Look at this stuff here. Look at this stuff floating in the background. Holy God. He's doing it just for you. So let's take a look at their products and services. Open your wallets, kids. And you have, so what do you guys think I should sign up for? How about the ultimate transformation? Because I'm just such a loser. Like, they're going to transform me into a losing trader or a winning trader? Hi there. Take you deeper. Oh boy. Over a decade of teaching and coaching traders. An entire team's going to confuse you. Well, they really have some cool stuff, man. Those advanced patterns. Module 1. Oh my God. So what, can I just buy it? Like, I just so want to get, what? $39.97? Oh, okay. Well, at least it's not $39.99. Holy fuck. The low price. Hey, honey, do you think I should sign up for this?